right, guys. All right, we're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day 4 of the comic book process. My name is Joshua Lamb. I am an artist, and that's it. That's all it is. Done deal. No, but if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. It definitely would help me out. And we're going to be going through the entire process live streaming on the creation of my first comic book of the Bible. This one's gonna be a lot more playful, a lot more, a little bit quicker. So, if you haven't watched any of my other videos on live stream, it explains more of the process of what I'm trying to accomplish with recreating the Bible verse by verse with a illustrated style. Pretty much making my own Bible. If you're not a religious person, do not worry. This is not a religious channel. Oh, I mean, it does religious art, but I'm not preaching to you. We're not doing all that stuff. So today we're continuing with King Eglon of Moab. If you don't know who he is, watch the last video, but a short thing. He is the guy who was in the 12th century pretty much oppressing the Israelites because God gave him the ability to do so. Weird God. And then him and the Amalekites and the Ammonites were oppressing the Israelites, and then one judge, this one dude, an assassin, kind of like Assassin's Creed, named Ehud, he comes up and he gets his revenge, or he gets his assassination goal. So grab your pen and paper if you want to draw along and kind of sketch with me. We're just kind of doing my thing, So welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me just write that out. Welcome, artist. And it says I'm live. I hope I'm live. Let me quadruple check because sometimes OBS is difficult and doesn't really like me. So I'm just going to just see. Yeah, I'm live. Cool. Bueno, bueno, bueno. And okay. So what am I doing today? I'm just going to draw some figure. I've kind of drew out what I kind of want him to be, how big I want him to be. He's got to be quite large. His name references to the words calf, cow, heifer, you know what I mean? And taking my 5B lead pencil and going in here and just kind of just drawing in, doodling, this is kind of what I want him to be. This is not for sure. This is the character I'm going to have him as. He will change most likely once I get some feedback from the museums of what they wore in the 12th century and some of the, it's mostly going to be robes. The kings are going to have a nicer set of robes, maybe made of linens and things like that. The chairs are going to be probably a beautiful wood or stone. I just made this chair up. This has nothing historically referenced to it. The feathers I added last night. I did all the inking of this in the car last night, so if it looks kind of rough and, here and there, that's because I couldn't barely see. I just had to use a light from my car. Yeah. But I added the feathers because I wanted this kind of flamboyant vibe to him, kind of feeling like he does deserve riches, and he kind of feels like he's got to be gluttonous, he's got to be big, he's got to be overly satisfied, kind of a character. We see this in a lot of comic books. We see this in a lot of movies where the bigger guy may be a little bit too into himself, and that's what kind of created his weight. But in this situation, we're talking 12th century. I imagine he's quite large and well fed. So I'm just going to get into it. It's going to be a short one, just an hour long. If you have any questions or any kind of thoughts, leave it in the comments below. And yeah, let's just get into it. Hopefully the sound is okay. I noticed there's some clicking and stuff like that before, so hopefully it won't continue. If you hear some weird noises in the back, that is a psychotic dog that lives next door to us, and it's got some serious issues. That's all I can say. Not sure why the rest of the tenants here have not mentioned anything with the dog. They've complained about my dog who doesn't bark at one point, which I'm offended by that. Anyways, let's get back to this guy. So drawing larger people I've never really done, and I'm kind of figuring out how to shade them correctly without being too detailed, because the skin of someone who is larger doesn't really have all the details of someone who's skinnier, because the skinnier has much more bone reflections and skin, stuff like that going on. Yeah, go ahead. And then, so it's just kind of like highlighting it, making it seem with the ambient light and stuff like that going correctly on his face, and the reflections and the shadow. I was using a blender actually earlier. Where did my blender go? I don't know where my blender went to. Here it is. So I was using this. If you've ever used one of these are great for softly blending the lead into the paper. And the whole trick is to not press hard. Press very lightly on it because it's paper rubbing against paper initially. Wow, so bright. That's probably why you can't see it. There we go. And let's zoom in so you can really see what I'm drawing. Let me pull him down. Dog hair. So for example, if I was going to blend this in, I would just very lightly, I mean almost hardly touching it. You're not going to press hard, because pressing hard forces the lead into the paper, and you want to move the lead around the paper. That's the whole point, is you want to, on top of the paper, you just want to move it, kind of create that blending feel. And the more you understand how light I'm pressing very light. Let's see if I can do a vertical. Yeah, maybe this will show. So if the paper, see how strong you have to push the paper down? That's how light I'm doing it. I'm not digging into it. So, and I'm actually just using a little piece of paper that's hanging off at the tip, the little nib right there, to blend it, not even the sharp point. I could use a sharper point, but that's going to be harder, and I don't want to do that. I just want to, we're just blending it in, nice and slow. Round and round we go. Doing little circular motions, so that way I get rid of some of these lines, these straight lines. And if you want to get into like hyperrealism, this is what you'll end up doing a lot of, using blending techniques like this. Because you have different values and gradients, you can really perform well into the shading process. Yeah, so. And since there's lead on the paper, I mean on the blending tool, you can actually move it over here and not actually have to use your pencil to draw again. It'll keep that lead. Just gotta be careful, because I mean, you don't have to be careful. Drawing's about failing and learning. So yeah. I just finished this TV show called Money Heist. It's kind of an older show, a couple years now, but I just started watching it because I'm trying to learn Spanish better or figure out Spanish, my Espanol. Because I went to Spain on a trip about 6 years ago, maybe. It was after we were moving from Hawaii. I lived on the Big Island, and I decided before we moved back to the States, I was like, you know what? We're just going to pack up everything, get it shipped over. While it's getting shipped over, which takes a month, we're going to do my wife and I are going to do a hike across the northern parts of Spain called the Camino de Santiago, which is this beautiful backpacking hike. Very safe, very cool. Highly recommend it to every single human being. The way it's built was the idea of it was that Saint James, possibly Jesus's brother, had gone across the island. I mean the all of Spain, kind of building these churches, but on the northern part. And there's a couple different routes. You can do this one road that's very simple, very easy for any backpacker who just wants to, trek along and stop every day. You stop at a new little town that has a little albergue or hostel or guest house kind of thing. Very safe. It's not like the movie Hostel. And it's all like run by like these organizations, like Christian organizations or something like that. And they're not Christian organizations. They're just because it's a saint thing or a Catholic or whatever you want to call it. It's it's just based off of pilgrims being pilgrims. I kind of fancy it to being like the Islamic faith of having their followers trek over to Mecca and stuff. So that being said, we did it. It was very affordable. It's only like $1,000 really. If you get a plane ticket, you only need $1,000 between two of you to actually stay at all those places for 40 days. It took us 40 days to hike 500 miles through the mountains. We took the hardest route possible because why not? We've never hiked before. Might as well do the most difficult one ever. And it sure was tough, but it was very valuable. We didn't carry along a lot of stuff with us, which is very important that you don't do. Some people were carrying like military bags with them as if like they needed to be pampered every way, which defeats the whole point. The whole point is for you to go and do this thing with the little amount of stuff possible. Enjoy meeting the people of Spain, which is so fun. I love the Spanish people. I love Spanish people. They're just hilarious. And yeah, you just get to enjoy life differently than how you would in this, well, at least Western cult. I don't know how it is in Europe. I never really grew up in Europe, but I know in the States, United States is kind of, we're stuck here working day to day, trying to make a buck so that way we can continue making a buck so we can buy a nice car or buy this and that. And I learned early on in my youth that wasn't things that I enjoyed. I enjoy traveling and meeting people. So I did a lot of traveling when I was younger, to Egypt by myself and, went with some groups to like Philippines and Amazon and Brazil and Guyana. Met some amazing people there. And then, just different Japan by myself. And I like traveling by myself because I like to put myself at great risk. It's just more fun that way. Makes you feel alive and there's no one holding you back kind of thing. Now that I'm married, it's way more fun traveling with my wife because she's far more knowledgeable about things that I don't really know. And then she knows more languages than I do. So there's this we get a lot more done. I can see a lot more cooler things, and she's much more informed about countries, what they have going on than I am. I just go there and just see what happens, And it usually always works out when you don't plan something and you just do it. It always works out. It's kind of like the magic of living. It's better to travel and do things without a goal or a plan. The plan should be go there with no plan and let the country show you what to do. Don't go to Mexico with no plan. Be smart because I don't want you to get like hijacked or something happen. I mean, some parts of Mexico are probably fine, but you got to look at the country and see how dangerous they are. I've been to some of the most craziest countries. One being North Korea was one. Most people don't realize that. and made some really good friends there. I love the North Korean people a lot. Probably one of my favorite types of people. They have a great sense of humor. I am not a communist, so don't worry. But there's a lot of misunderstandings with North Korea, and there's a lot of stuff obviously true. But I would love to work in North Korea if they would pay me enough to live off of, to make films and movies there. But we don't have a really good relationship with them. They don't have a good relationship with America, so I understand that. So, yeah, but then Brazil was fine, even in the sketchy areas. I didn't go to Rio. I imagine that'd probably be in the favelas. It might be a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure there's areas that aren't that bad. Mexico has a lot more sketchy places because of the, gang violence and territories and stuff like that. But Asia is always very safe. And I think Asia has a lot of culture to it about protecting people for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's some sketchy areas. We went to Burma or Myanmar, and there were some areas that they didn't like us, but if you show respect to their culture and you try to speak the language and you try to do stuff, it's always good. It's always a good thing. I think people get surprised when you go to Korea. You're expecting like this really cool, welcoming thing, but then you find out they're quite racist or judgmental and difficult, and a very depressed country compared to anywhere else I've ever been. Most of the countries that had the most joy were these super poverty countries that I've traveled to, like Mindanao and the Philippines. Is super poverty for me. I mean, they just living on the ground and dirt pretty much, but they were joyful. They were so joyful. I don't even understand. I really don't get it. I think it's because the life is simpler. You find joy in such simpler things, and that's not what King Eglon is about. He's the opposite. He needs to be fulfilled with pleasure, with games and toys and food. And that's why he's a big guy. So I don't know why I even started talking about that. Oh, because the Camino, yeah. If you've never done the Camino de Santiago, highly recommend you do it. You're going to love it. Changed my life forever. Changed my wife's life forever. Everyone I know who's done it has changed their lives. It's an insanely amazing trip where you're just carrying a backpack, drinking wine and cheese and enjoying walking every day. How much better could that be? I know, right? Anyways, I need to verify I'm still online because I don't see anybody watching, so kind of. No, I'm live 18 minutes. Huh. Anywho, so we got this bad boy here. He's looking pretty heiferish. My pen is not sharp. My pencil. I'm using the sandpaper to sharpen my pencils. I like it much better than putting it into a sharpener because the sharpener, A, always breaks my lead, and B, doesn't fit this thing. C, I don't know, it just sounds cool when I do this. I like the sound. But you always have to be spinning it to get an even sharpness at the end, which I'm not very good at. See, I just ruined all that lead. Ugh. I used to use a knife to sharpen these things, but then I broke them too many times. Sandpaper is way safer. There we go. All right. So there we go. There's my lines. I just made designs here that don't really matter. There's squares and little squirrelies, little at symbols. So he's looking pretty good. He's looking sizable. Thing is I don't know what he's going to finally look like because I need to figure out what his ethnicity really, his colors of his skin would be, the kind of shape of his face, before I finalize. I want to get the best, closest possible for the Moabites in the 12th century. I can't even imagine what they would look like, honestly. I don't know if they have facial hair either. Even if though he was big, he could have had a lot. He would have been could have been a hairy man. King Eglon, I mean. So I need to figure that out. But just from off the top of my head, I'm going to just draw this and kind of, we're just playing here. We're just playing, having fun, drawing some big characters, shading in, using this little fuzzy shader blender. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Gotta get his boobies in here. All right. And the cool thing is, if you have like, I don't know where my electrical eraser is. Actually, I do know it, but we're not going to use it. You can use. Oh, hey, yeah. Here's this. So this is what you would wear on the back when you do the Spain, the El Camino de Santiago. You put this on. It's a seashell, and you pretty much carry it on your backpack or wherever people can see it, so they know that you're a pilgrim. And they always, when they're bicycling, they see you walking by, they're like, "Buen camino, buen camino," you know. And it's really encouraging to keep you guys going, because it's just, honestly, you don't get that in the States. You don't get people encouraging to do anything, really. It's just always about, you're an idiot. I don't know why. I don't know why the culture is that way. Don't like it. But if you're looking for a change in life or you're going through something hard, I would recommend doing the Camino. It changes your life for the better, and you have this spiritual awakening. It doesn't matter what religion you're part of, it'll just awaken something inside of you that you've been waiting for. Don't know how to explain it. I really don't. Everyone seems to have it. Yeah, just trust in it, the process, and it'll be fine. The gentleman that got me to do it, who mentioned it to me actually, was a man he was in the financial crisis in America and lost everything, even his wife, and his daughters mentioned, hey, go do this thing with us, and let's see how it works. And he did it. He says he does it every year for his birthdays because that's how important it is for him to do a hike like this, or a backpacking trip like this. So once we did it, we understood everything. We were like, oh my gosh, we met such amazing people. We were in the rain and snow. We had every single thing happen to us, and it was just absolutely brilliant. And I dream of going back. Yeah, it's I don't even know how to explain the feeling of, I don't know, man. That's wild. It's wild stuff. You just feel like you're one with the earth for a moment in your life. Like everything disappears, all the worries disappear. It becomes clear in your mind what you're meant to do, your path. If I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have gone back to art. That's probably the truth. Because I was doing filmmaking at the time, and we were moving to Hollywood in hopes to get some work out here. We had some stuff lined up, but it was purely a filmmaking. Yeah, I still do filmmaking. I'm doing a documentary right now, but it's not like, totally different. Now I pursue art with a passion. I'm doing this whole Bible project, which is so much fun. And this is the first one. First story I'm trying to work out just because it's the coolest one. But once I start out on combining all the books in the Bible, it's going to be a whole different story. Because I think people are going to expect me to. I'm pretty much creating my own Bible, which I'm sure is some kind of sacrilegious issue or some kind of blasphemy in some form. But oh well, boo hoo, cry me a river. Hmm? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a. I don't care what people say about me doing this, especially religions. They, you know, it's a shame. You know what I mean? So I need this guy's face to be on the right. I need to find a reference photo of a guy facing the right way. But sorry, I just sniffed into the mic. My bad, guys. I can't seem to find a good reference photo, but let's just take my own knowledge of the way the guy looks. Oh, here we go. I got a sumo wrestler, dude. Yes. We're going to do a smaller face, something like this. I'm only taking the structure. I'm going to try to still match this kind of heavy setness. I imagine he's probably going to be. So, did the kings back in the day have? If you're that big, usually we draw them bald. Um, but should he have hair? You know, like that's the question. Should he have hair? What would he look like if he had hair? What if he had? What if he had the hair of No Country for Old Men, Javier Bardem, his hairstyle with the 70s cute bowl cut kind of thing. That'd be kind of wild. But he's bald already here. I have him bald with the head thing on. Or is he bald? You know what? Let's add some weird hair. Let's make him kind of weird. So here we go. There's the chin line. There's the straightforward. So you can know what we're doing here. This is the facial line. You're going to got kind of a big old nose. His eyes. Eyebrows. Short little eyebrows. So I was watching last night, David Finch and another artist were critiquing comic book artists' work. And David Finch, if you don't know who he is, he's an amazing comic book artist who, like, he had his recent Kickstarter, which was awesome, where he gave out his Monday night draws and stuff for a good price. And he kind of critiques your work. Anyways, he's a comic book artist. He did like, honestly, I can't tell you. I can't even tell you because I don't even know. You can look him up. Anyways, I saw some really good artists yesterday that they were showing off some of the work, and some of it wasn't that great, but the encouragement was probably really good for them. And I think that's something that I would like to master, is encouraging you guys to just go for it. I know that my art is not the greatest in the world. That is a fact. It's not even a question. It's just not even it's just fact. It's just fact that it's not the greatest. But it's okay because it's not meant to be the greatest. It's meant to be something more. It's supposed to be just for me to release everything I have in my imagination out on paper. And as I do that, I will go through the process of learning and growing, as long as I'm not staying in my specific style all the time and not sticking with not taking the critique very harshly. I need people to tell me what's up that they don't like, and then I adapt. And that's important to do, you know. So if you think that you're a perfect artist, you're not, and neither am I. But we push forward so that way we can develop our skills better to what we're looking for. And I think if I would have submitted my stuff to be critiqued by David, he would have not agreed that the style that I do my art is actually good for comic books because I'm very complicated and hyper detailed in a lot of ways. So that being said, though, does that mean I should give up on my style and, you know, go to what he's saying to do, which is probably, you know, more of a comic book Marvel or DC look, which I could totally do. Absolutely. I've done it. I just don't want to do it. And that's important for me because there's too many people who do it. That's the honest truth. I see so many artists out there that are replicating these masters, which is great. If that's your skill set to do it, do it. Go ahead, go for it. But for me, it's important for me to maintain my own style, and that style looks a lot like this with the line work, and you can see that I've kind of usually I would fill in the whole space. There wouldn't be any white, but because I couldn't see in my car last night, I just didn't fill all this in. Plus, I didn't know what I was trying to make it kind of a shiny material, silky material. But, you know. Okay. Hey, Charlie. Dog just came in from a walk. Good old doggy. So we have here his kind of like goofy looking spiked hair. I don't know what his hair is really going to look like, but I'm just making it look really kind of dumb. He's meant to look like a heifer, a big dude. And that's the main focus, is to look big. Ear rolls. I totally forgot about ear rolls. And then what we're going to do is find the light source. It's going to be up here. So we'll have... He's kind of smiling, kind of happy. I don't want him to be happy. I don't like him being happy. He shouldn't be happy. He should be miserable. Kings are rarely happy anyways. Kind of a goofy look on them. Kind of got that dimple. Gonna make the shadows here. Sheesh, my dog. Eyebrows here. Kind of like if a military guy went to KFC every day of his life, which I love me some KFC. But let's just color him in here and get his neck kind of protruding out. And then we need the shadow from his lip. And the bottom of his chin. Gotta remember not to do any harsh lines for bigger people. They're very smooth creatures. Unlike the very skinny people who are very bony and sharp creatures. I call them people creatures because it's just more fun. I'm a creature of the night. Myself. You know what I mean. I'm just messing with you guys. Don't take offense to anything. Gotta learn to laugh at ourselves. Okay, yeah. And then so whenever you create lines, the little trick to make everything look right is to darken the line that hits the shadows. Yeah. And then we have this nose thing. So it should be coming out here. So he doesn't look the same as this guy here and here because of the hair. But if I was to add, you know, like let's just erase this real quick. Add the crown. You get much more of a vibe. It's just because his hair is showing that it kind of feels like. Okay, and then just to clean it up, go in and blend it in to make it match everything else I've been drawing. I guess I'm going to use a sharper end in here. So there's not enough puffiness to him. He needs to be a little bit more fluffy. So I need to come in here and fix all that. Looks tired too. So you can always drop down his too bony. He's more round. More round. There we go. And then his chin can still be there, pronounced. A little bit better. Still need some work. Like I said, this is just a sketch of some different looks for him. Okay. So I think the issue is his eyebrows. In all the other poses, his eyebrows are much lower. So I'm just going to pull them back a little bit. I'm going to raise them up, give them a little bit of a sharper edge. And then it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more of what he looks like in the other images. Okay, so got that. Now, something I can do is practice drawing hands. That's where my main issue is kind of leaning towards right now, is drawing hands. So I'm going to find a reference for a chubby hand. Not too many of them. Interesting. Could use this baby's hand. It's kind of chubby. All right, now I found some drawings already of it. So what we're going to do is move this up and then sharpen my pencil. We're going to go for his hand. What shall we do? The pointing of the finger hand. Oh, let's draw this way. Gives me more room to work with. So the hand's shape was going to be like this, and then you have boom. Doesn't look like much yet, but once we start drawing in the details. So finger number 1, finger number 2, finger number 3, and then Mr. Chubby Finger. We have the thumb. Uh-oh, kid's crying in the back. Okay, and then there we go. You can notice I don't draw hands like this very often. Da Vinci does a really good job of hands because they're very fluid, very circular. Yeah, it's not looking too bad, I think. It's got to shade it in now. So, this, bring it down here. This will be all shaded in. Not too many wrinkles because the harder the skin is stretched, the less wrinkles it'll form. And if we want to go in there and shade this in, we can erase some of these guidelines here. Did I just blow the mic? Darn. gonna softly blend it in. So I've been thinking about like King Eglon and what I'm gonna have him do, because some of the story of the conflict is going to be based on him kind of becoming king a little bit, to kind of show you why he's such a bad guy, why he's making the decision he's doing. So I have to like give him some details. I can't just give Ehud, the protagonist, everything, because then there's no reason for the audience to want to see King Eglon die, or for the maybe the oppression's really bad on the people, but for the viewer they're gonna have to really understand who Eglon is. And then since this is a religious text, it's going to have to showcase the angels and demons and their influence over Eglon, and how God used Eglon, because God is a big part of this one. It's him who apparently makes Eglon successful in oppressing the Israelites. So why? What's God's reasoning for all of this? We can always look at theology and say, oh, it's because God wanted to teach Israel a lesson. They need to learn something, and it just kind of. But that doesn't. It's not the loving, crazy, good God that we hear about. So there's got to be another alternate motive. So I'm going to develop the reasoning of the angels and demons and the war, and how this all plays out. Just don't know how I'm going to do that. You guys get to see firsthand my thought process even right now, so there you go. I just don't know. Okay, so that's a hand. Could even give this a little more structure. And then I want to draw out what the Moabite kingdom map would be. So give me a millisecond so I can get my phone out and figure out what it looks like. So the kingdom of Moab is here. Right there. Dibon and Jericho. So that's kind of a cool thing. So it's all in the east of Jericho, but the battle will take place near Jericho. Probably most likely Jericho, the city of palms, during this book. And I mean, Ehud goes from here all the way. Well, he goes right here, I think it is, all the way back, and comes back and fights this war, takes out 10,000 of the Moabite people. But gotta figure out what that would look like. I guess I'll just draw the Dead Sea and then Moab to the right or left. Where's my Bible? Okay. So I would be wrong if I drew it straight from there. So I'm gonna try to show you guys this real quick. Sorry about the mic noise. That is because it's right in front of my face and everything's touching it. Get off of this, you dude! Come on. Okay. So we have here. Put it into focus. We have here Moab. Okay, and Jericho's right here. So Moab took up a lot of the space across the Jordan River, even. And the fight would eventually happen at the fords, right in the line right here. So to draw the map, I guess, start with the Dead Sea. So I don't know what all this nonsense is. Okay, what we're going to do here is messed up the Dead Sea. It's a little hard part because I'm measuring it all wrong right here. Okay, so we have the Dead Sea. And you have the, bless you. You have the river. Would you do the Jordan? Okay, and now I can draw the rest. Not really much information on the Moabite territory. Nope. Interesting. Oh, because I had it on my phone. That's what I was looking at. So I'm guessing Moab would have taken over a lot because they seem to have reigned quite a big region. So, And then what I'm going to do is just color this in. So you know what it is. So Jericho would be right here. Okay. That's you. Okay, that's that. You know what I was going to do? I was going to draw this one thing here, a table. Because I forgot to do that earlier. And you would have some dishes here. Sorry, guys. And then we'd have some food, some grub. grapes. Every king needs grapes for some reason. Excuse me, I should have. I'm sneezing. That wasn't a fart, I promise. This is just to give context to him sitting down and eating like a king. And because I want to give a little bit of a faded look, that's what I'm doing. That's it. So this is the King of Moab first sketch, just a sketch. Not his final thing. His face here is a little bit too flat for me. I definitely need to round that out. Don't know why, I just jacked up this view pretty bad. Anyways, hope you guys liked it. Simple sketch, just a little bit of practice, making thick hands, the neck, the rolls, the body shape, a map of where he's from, him looking into the future of his life, about to be destroyed. Should probably add those feathers back here so people know what's going on. And then, yeah, it's not so bad. I think there's some work to be done, but so far so good. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the channel. That'd definitely be awesome. And we're going to see how this goes. This is just the sketch of Eglon. And tomorrow we will be drawing up some sketches of Ehud, the main protagonist, and his kind of figure. But he's going to be a little bit more difficult because I need to research him far more. I mean, I need to research both of these guys. And then we're going to start building out the story, actually typing it up, and you're going to see me go through the process of laying out the storyline, the script, to the whole thing, and explaining where I'm coming from and all of this. Now, this week is going to be a hectic week for me, so it's not going to be too long of these live streams, but starting next month, we'll have a lot longer, a lot fuller information on everything that I'm doing. But I thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, if it's Wednesday where you're at. And if you're a creative, hey, go create. I thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon.